Hi, Jeff Williams back here with the another installment on the 28X. Let's go ahead and turn it on. It's been under 3 hours, and so there it turns on pretty quick, as you see. Initially, when you get the transmitter, it'll have two timer number ones. Okay. If you want to add a timer up here, now for the 60-inch Extreme Flight Extra, I only want a countdown timer, which, as I showed you in another video, I have that hooked to the throttle. So if I push the throttle up a little bit, you can see that the timer starts to count down. If I go to down, it stops the timer, and we notice that it has minutes, seconds, and even a tenth of a second. So very, very precise, okay? And how do we reset that timer? Okay, well, let's look at that. Let's bring in and touch it. And you see timer reset or timer setting. Okay, so if I hit timer reset, initialize the timer 1, confirm yes or no. Well, yes, we want to reset that. Okay, and then it goes back up to 5:30. Okay, that's great. No problem there. How did I get that 5:30 up there? Okay, well, let's get in here to our, let's go to System. Okay, and I'm sorry, that's in the function menu. There it is, timer. Okay, now you see the transmitter offers 3 different timers, okay? I'm using timer number 1, and I'm using it as a countdown. I could use it as a stopwatch, or I could enable it, okay? Or inhibit is actually what that stands for, is inhibit. But I want a countdown timer. Now, on that particular airplane, I want 5 minutes and 30 seconds, but I could set that for whatever I wanted. 4 minutes, 2 minutes, so on, okay? And then over here, you could set it to 5:20, 19, 18, 17, okay? But I want it for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's what I got. Now, I could go into switch select here. And in order to put that on the throttle, you have to get into the analog position. Okay, and I got it set to analog position 0. I could have set it to any of them, but I just, start off the first one and go from there. Okay, but if I wanted to set it to a switch, I just tap, which switch do I want on? Let's say I want it on this one way back here. So I just touch that area. Then I would touch, excuse me, hold on, let me. Okay, see how I made that switch red there? Whatever switch is red in any menu, that is the active switch. And you can have more than one active switch, so be very careful with that. I do not want that switch active because I want it on my throttle stick. Okay, let's get rid of that menu. But so you can see, you can just move the screen up and down and get anywhere on the right side of the transmitter, or I could have tapped over there and used any switch on the left side of the transmitter like that one. And then you just enable whichever position you want that particular function to be active. Okay? But I don't want anything on this, so let's get rid of that. No red, so I know I didn't accidentally make any of them active. Okay, so I'm done with that, so let's get out of the switch select. Back to countdown timer. There we are. Okay, so now we have a countdown timer, and this so happens stopwatch is what's selected on timer 2, but if you remember, I did not have a second timer on the front. So how do I get that? Okay, let's go back, and we're going to put a widget up there. Okay, timer. I'm going to press and hold. you're going to feel a slight vibration, okay? And then we're going to move it onto the screen. There it is. Bingo. Place it right there. Okay, but I got a problem. I don't want timer number 1, I want timer number 2. Okay, so let's tap it. Timer setter, timer setting. I want timer number 2. Okay, now I have timer number 2. Now remember, we had that set for a stopwatch counter. Okay, not a countdown like the timer 1's a countdown, timer 2's stopwatch. So when we move this throttle, what happens? There you go. It's counting. This one's counting down, this one is stopwatching, okay? So let's stop that. Reset. Yes. Timer 2. Reset. Yes. Okay. Now, let's watch it again. See what happens. Bingo. Okay. All right. Now, how did I get my throttle to act as my countdown? Because I showed you how to put it on a switch up here if you wanted it on a switch. So, if you want to do that, we want it on the instruction manual will tell you to put it on an analog position switch. And if memory serves, that's in the system menu right there. So I touch that. Okay, now, analog position switch 0, analog position switch 1, which is inhibited. I've made this active, so let's touch that. So you can make it inactive or active, okay. Next, input. And it will tell you, do you want it on a device? In other words, do you want it on a switch? Do you? Which is these are analog position switches. These are 3 position switches. Okay, so I don't want it on that. Actually, those are trims there. I'm sorry. Up here you would have analog position switches. But anyway, I wanted it on my throttle. So I touched channel. I made throttle active, okay, because I could have put it on the elevator, which no, I don't really want that. That's no good. Let's get it back on the throttle. There we go. And then over here, you can see at the very bottom, I've got the timer to go off. In the middle it stays on, up here it stays on. But in between, where do I want it to turn on exactly? I got it set 92%, which if you fiddle with it, the throttle, the ratcheting, you will see that at about 1 or 2 clicks is 92%. I just kind of feel where you want it and then set a percentage that works for you. And that's how I got my throttle to work on my timer, okay? So let's go back to the main menu, and there we go. So you can see, every time I move my throttle up, move it all the way up. See, it just keeps working no matter where I'm at until I get right back down there. Now it stops. And let's see how many. There's 1 click, 2 clicks. Well, about the 3rd click, that's when it started again. Okay. So that's how you set your timer up. It seems complicated, but once you do it once or twice, it goes pretty quick. Hope this helps you with your timer setup. And thanks again for getting a 28X. It's an awesome radio.